Today on Record Breakers, the world's first inflatable church has opened its doors.
Over 2,000 people have challenged the Guinness World Record for three-legged racing.
Proof that when people march to their own drum, records are created.
And a world record was set in Thailand for participating in grueling physical exercise.
Because on Record Breakers, we know there's dream chasers.
We know there's serious risk takers.
And we know there's always record breakers.
If people are attempting it, record breakers are filming it. Get ready as we explore the outer limits of human achievement on Record Breakers.
Live Aid was a multi-venue rock music concert held on July 13, 1985, organised by Bob Geldof in order to raise funds for famine relief in Ethiopia. Live Aid holds the record for the largest simultaneous rock concert TV audience with 1.5 billion viewers. We'll preview more acts from Live Aid throughout the show.
A team of international sculptors in Austria believe they've created the world's biggest nativity scene made entirely out of ice. The project, which is now in its 10th year, features life-size figures made from blocks of ice that weigh 135 kilograms each and were made in Belgium, especially for the project. The sculptors from Austria, Alaska, Finland and Germany used a total of 43.6 tons of ice for the 2005 sculpture. The scene, lit with coloured lights from inside, was put on display in the Landhaushof, a Renaissance court in the centre of Graz, and attracted crowds from Austria and abroad. The office estimates some 500,000 people see the nativity scene every year.
Workers of a Turkish car manufacturing firm hit more than 2,000 drums to highlight their company's slogan, "Everyone will hear us." The workers have signed a record and sent it to the Guinness Book of Records, hoping to claim a place in history. Around 2,500 workers, representatives, salespeople and service crew members gathered in one of the exhibition centres in Istanbul with their drums. The event was recorded by two notaries and sent to the Guinness Record Book in London in order to take place in the book. It is thought that the present record of mass drum beating is held by a Japanese group of 1,700 people.
Malm, the largest town in Sweden, is recorded in the Guinness Book of Records for the world's biggest crayfish party, where every year thousands of people meet to, well, eat crayfish. Wearing strange hats is a vital part of the party, and the person judged with the best hat wins a month's supply of crayfish. Although after eating it non-stop for a day, I don't know how delighted the winner would be. For those who are not used to crayfish, eating it may present some difficulties, but there is a way to ripping off the shell, and with a healthy helping of wine, the ordeal becomes easier and easier.
From one species to another now, as the world's first autonomously controlled robotic fish was unveiled at the London Aquarium. Inspired by the common carp, the fish has sensor-based controls and navigation capabilities, enabling it to swim around a specially designed tank safely, avoid objects and react to its environment. Creator Professor Ho Shung Hu's team has worked with the London Aquarium for 3 years to develop this biologically inspired robot, which mimics the undulating movement of real fish. Three robotic fish have been made with jewel-bright scales and display sinuous, lifelike movements. The fish aim to swim at the same speed as tuna, have the acceleration of a pike and the navigation skills of an eel. The aim of the project was to bring the public into direct contact with robots and increase their understanding of science and technology. The aquarium's marine experts have worked with the robotics team to share their knowledge of the behaviour and movement of a wide variety of fish.
The world's first inflatable church has opened its Gothic arches to worshippers to reveal a blow-up organ, a polyvinyl pulpit, an air-filled altar and fake stained glass windows. The church is the brainchild of British entrepreneur Michael Gill, who says it could breathe new life into Christianity by letting preachers take their message into their communities. A priest could carry it around on the back of a truck and set it up on patches of grass or in village squares for impromptu services. It can be inflated in about 3 hours and can house around 60 people at a time. The brown PVC pews can seat 12 people, while the rest of the congregation have to vie for floor space with the large PVC organ. The inflatable church has entered in the Guinness Book of Records and is expected to be used for novelty weddings.
120 Alabama musicians attempted to break the Guinness Book of World Records mark for most grand pianos played at one time in an ensemble performance.
When Live Aid was held in 1985, it was billed as a global jukebox, and the main sites for the event were Wembley Stadium in London, attended by 72,000 people, and JFK Stadium in Philadelphia, attended by about 90,000 people, with some acts performing at other venues such as Sydney and Moscow.
The world's biggest fruitcake went on display in Dresden. The event started early in the morning with the bakers of Dresden carrying the giant fruitcake weighing approximately 4,000 kilograms in a procession from the Baroque Zwinger to the Christmas market at Altmark. The market in Dresden, lovingly referred to as the Streisel Market, is considered the oldest in Germany. These days, at 4,000 kilograms, the fruitcake, known in these parts as Stollen, is larger than medieval bakers might have been able to imagine. It's divided to feed people from throughout the area. Every baker has his own recipe, but the basic ingredients remain the same. Flour, butter, raisins, lemon, spices and rum. Everything that makes a good dessert. The Streisel Market is open for a month over Christmas, where people can go to catch a glimpse of the world's biggest fruitcake.
What has 2,026 pairs of legs and marches across sports arenas? The answer? The students of Japan's Otani High School and their parents who challenged the Guinness record for the largest three-legged race currently held by students at a British high school. The students and their parents tied their legs together with rubber ropes and arranged themselves in 8 rows. With one person blowing a whistle to keep the challengers marching in time, they slowly marched 30 metres, taking 5 minutes, breaking the current record held by the 1,719 British secondary school students. The record attempt goes to show that 3 legs are definitely better than 2.
A total of 258,076 inmates set a world record in Thailand for participating in a massive aerobics class. 250,000 prison inmates performed aerobics exercises and vowed to give up crime. At the institution for female offenders on the outskirts of Bangkok, about 6,000 inmates did exercises to music in a synchronised 1-2 motion for about 30 minutes. Officials said that more than 250,000 prisoners in 134 jails had taken part in the nationwide routine. The world record bid will have to be evaluated by the Guinness Book of World Records before the result becomes official.
Indian batsman Sachin Tendulkar holds the world record for the most Test hundreds, scoring his 35th century to beat compatriot Sunil Gavaskar. The 32-year-old Mumbai batsman reached the milestone on the opening day of the second Test against Sri Lanka in 2005. He spent tense moments on 99 before turning Sri Lankan fast bowler Traminda Vas to square leg for the all-important single. He was hugged by teammate Sourav Ganguly and congratulated by the Sri Lankan players, with a crowd of over 20,000 giving him a standing ovation. Tendulkar, also the most successful one-day batsman, walked away with the crowd cheering once he'd reached the milestone. Tendulkar had been under pressure to break the record since equalling Gavaskar 5 tests ago in Bangladesh in December 2004.
It's been a long and winding road to the Guinness Book of World Records. 34 years after Rodolfo Vasquez received his first Fab 4 album, he realised his dream of having the world's largest Beatles collection. Vasquez began his collection, now reaching some 5,612 albums, autographs, photos, tickets, books, posters, toys and comic strips at age 10, when he received the album Rubber Soul as a gift. He turned into a collector after John Lennon was shot in 1980. Vasquez also owns the Cavern Club in Buenos Aires and is about to turn another dream into reality, hosting the first Beatles Week festival outside the city of Liverpool, England.
An elephant has broken records as employees of Jerusalem's Biblical Zoo are preparing themselves for the birth of Israel's first ever elephant baby produced through artificial insemination. 20-year-old Tamar is nearing the last days of her pregnancy, and the zookeepers say the birth will be a breakthrough in efforts to conserve the endangered Asian elephant. To date, there are only approximately 38,000 wild Asian elephants in comparison to African elephants, of which there are some 600,000. Tamar was artificially inseminated 2 years ago in Jerusalem as part of a joint project between a group of German and Israeli specialists. The proud father is a male elephant named Emmett, who is based in Whipsnade Zoo in England.
Indian business tycoon and maverick aviator Vijay Pat Singhania readied himself to make yet another milestone in aviation, a world record for flying a hot air balloon up to 70,000 feet. 67-year-old Singhania will attempt to actualise the feat, dubbed as the Mission Impossible, from the Indian commercial capital, Mumbai City. The existing record for high altitude in a hot air balloon is held by Per Lindstrand, who reached a height of 19,811 metres in Plano, Texas, USA on June 6, 1988. If he succeeds, it would be the third and the greatest aviation record set by the successful businessman, who in 1994 won the FAI Gold Medal, considered to be the most coveted aviation title. The cost of the project is estimated to run into millions, with equipment imported from London being used to build the craft and the balloon, almost the size of a 30-storey building. A confident Singhania is ready to reach for the skies and find wind beneath his wings.
In the history of world records, this has to be one of the most obscure. But to the world's dozen or so million Jewish people, it's a crucial one. The world's largest mezuzah, officially registered in the Guinness Book of Records at 1.1 metres. What is a mezuzah? It's the symbol of the Jewish that's fixed on the gates leading to communal places, even on gates of cities. Artist and author Avraham Bershavsky designed the record-breaking mezuzah. It weighs in at 3 kilograms and reaches more than half the height of an average doorpost. Traditional fixtures are normally 10 centimetres high. Scrutineers for the Bible of World Records officially anointed Bershavsky's mezuzah.
Christie's Auction House in London announced the sale of a sheet of pinkish paper the size of a postcard that they anticipated would fetch more than $5 million, the most a piece of art has ever taken. The slip of paper bears a light sketch of a rearing horse and rider by Leonardo da Vinci, the preparatory study for the Italian artist's first great composition, The Adoration of the Magi, which hangs in Florence's Uffizi Museum. Christie say the piece is the most significant drawing by the Renaissance master to be sold at auction since the 1930s.
A ballet dancer has spun her way into the record books after completing the highest number of consecutive special turns. Ballerina Lee Zimmerman wanted to try for the most consecutive fouette spins, and then, before a panel of judges, including a representative from the Guinness Book of Records, the attempt began. The American star, who now appears in West End shows as a leading dancer, is keen to promote ballet as a form of exercise. A formal presentation of the record, and then back to the business of dancing, this time with daughter Kaylee. And with her mum teaching her everything she knows, it won't be long before she is challenging her own mother's crown.
The world's biggest chocolate egg was made in Belgium, measuring 8.32 metres high and 6.39 metres wide.
Live Aid was one of the largest scale satellite link-ups and TV broadcasts of all time, with an estimated 1.5 billion viewers in 100 countries watching the live broadcast.
But first, some Hollywood record breakers you may not be aware of. The record for the longest time spent on the UK singles chart belongs to Frank Sinatra, whose song My Way spent 75 weeks between April 1969 and September 1971.
Hold on to
Titanic holds the record for the most expensive film ever made. The epic movie, which overran its budget during production, cost just over $200 million to make. The film set included a replica of the ill-fated luxury liner and a model only 10% smaller than the actual vessel.
Do you trust me?
I trust you.
It also holds a record for the most Oscar nominations for a film, which is 14, a record shared with 1950's All About Eve.
MTV is also in the record books as the world's largest music TV network. MTV began broadcasting on August 1, 1981 and is currently transmitted to approximately 340 million households in 140 countries. That means it can be seen by 1 in 3 of the world's total TV audience.
Actress Emma Thompson entered the record books as she is the first and so far only actor or actress to have won Academy Awards for both acting and writing. Thompson's acclaimed performance in 1992's Howard's End earned her an Oscar for Best Actress. She won her next Academy Award in 1996 for her screenplay adaptation of Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility.
Yeah, well, we all get to break our hearts on this one. He seems like a nice guy.
The record for the most people thanked by an Oscar winner belongs to Olivia de Havilland. On March 13, 1947, Olivia won the Best Actress Academy Award for her role as Josephine Norris in 1946's To Each His Own. In her speech, she thanked 27 people by name.
I'll take that, Beth. Good.
The youngest #1 box office star title belongs to Shirley Temple, who was 7 years old when she became #1 at the box office in 1935, retaining the title to 1938.
Animals one by one.
More than 60 of rock music's biggest acts played for free at the Live Aid concert that spanned across 3 continents and raised $144 million for famine relief in Africa. The record-breaking concert has become a rock and roll mythical moment. It has certainly entered the culture along with Woodstock. That's all we've got time for. See you next time on Record Breakers.